Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. I'm going to go over oil and natural gas, do some technical analysis, and the overall sector looks pretty good. I think we're probably going to go sideways to probably just pull back a little bit and then head higher is my guess. Just looking at the pattern and comparing that pattern to other patterns. And I'm going to go a little bit over the commodities themselves, some oil to gold to oil ratio, and then get into some of my favorite individual companies. And you guys can do whatever you want with this. It's not meant for financial advice. It's just financial education, learning how to technically read charts so you guys can do it yourself and maybe perhaps get better entry points. That's the whole point of this. And my strategy has been to kind of overweight the initial position in the beginning when the ratios are the cheapest and I see a very good technical chart pattern setup. I go in and then I just hold on and I cost average in when I see other good buying opportunities from the technical charts. So here we go. Let's jump in here. This is oil and natural gas. I'm going to start with just the price of oil to begin with. And the V-shaped bottom that I'm seeing here is this guy right here. We got this nice big white candlestick bodies, means the opening and closing price creates a huge body and a lot of momentum and buying pressure to the upside. It contracts, the opening and closing prices contract up, and where the buyers start to equal the sellers. And I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to head down a little bit and create one of these wings right here. And then we'll head higher. So this side will mirror or be symmetrical to this side as we go up. Now the gold to oil ratio usually for most of history has traded between 10 and 30. It goes below 10 briefly in commodity bull markets. And in crashes, this ratio goes above 30. Look at 2020. Went all the way to 90, 80, 70. It was all the way up there. We've never been that cheap in that ratio. And that is an anomaly in history, in my opinion, which provided some of the best buying opportunities ever in the energy sector. And that's where I got really, really excited. And I waited for the charts to show me buying opportunities in some of these high debt companies that were sold off to pennies on the dollar. And I'll show you what those companies look like and what their charts look like. And this is natural gas. I'm showing natural gas here. Again, we're in a strong uptrend. Will this continue? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we have a short-term little pullback before going higher just because of this one candlestick's a bearish piercing, but not always is that a reliable signal. It's statistics. So I would think it might come back a little bit before moving higher, but time will tell and we'll see. Now I'm going to start with SM Energy. This is a oil and natural gas company. It is a higher debt, higher leverage company. You can tell this thing moves quite dramatically. This thing was heavily shorted back in 2020, and that's one of the reasons why I really liked it, because when a stock is heavily shorted, it means that when it does go up, the shorts are going to have to cover their positions. When they cover their positions, it creates even more buying demand. So if the buyers step in here and really start to put the pressure on, the shorts have to also buy their stock and buy it back and cover, which drives it even higher. And then you get a big short squeeze. And we broke this downtrend here recently. I think we're probably going to do exactly this, similar to this side. So I think we'll probably move sideways to higher for a little bit. And then eventually we'll break and move higher. Looking at from the big long-term perspective, 97 and all the way to 2021, we have a descending wedge pattern. We broke to the upside right here just recently and have been rocketing higher. I think it looks great for a setup that could potentially move a lot higher from where we are today, especially with the gold to oil ratio where it's at, the market conditions and where they're at in terms of real estate and expansionary phase and inflation, and where this chart pattern looks, the size of this chart pattern. Now here's Centennial Resource Development, another higher debt company. It was incredibly Shorted back here. Nice big bullish engulfing pattern there. Notice the big moves higher and the small pullbacks. Complete trait. Bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing, bullish no, it's not technically a bullish engulfing. Came to a little high. This was the pullback, consolidation period. I think we're probably pretty close to being done right here. We had a nice little bullish engulfing here. Popped higher. I'd like to see this thing pop through this downtrend line and move on up. We do have almost a bullish piercing today. It's pretty close. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Big long-term perspective for CDEV. We have a descending wedge. We broke to the upside, and then COVID hit and hit this thing pretty hard. This down here is an incredible buying opportunity for anyone that was paying attention. I did buy some over here as it was coming up. Cost averaged in also down here, and I bought more here. So I bought some here, I bought some here, and I bought some right here. If you were wondering where I was buying. Draw the line across, and I think we're coming back. We're going to retest, and then hopefully head on higher. Hopefully the dollar falls. Dollar falls, oil goes up. All these are sitting pretty. Here's Crew Energy. We got this nice strong uptrend, pulling on back. Nice big buying pressure here. It's kind of that V-type bottom. We haven't had much selling pressure over here, so I think it's either sideways to higher is what I'm looking for. Big picture view of Crew. The descending wedge, we broke out. We still pull back for the COVID in 2020, and then we're coming back up, and we still got this resistance line that we're going to have to try to break through very soon. And it's very common for almost all these companies. They're all trying to break through these big resistance lines that they still have hanging out in the past. This was an incredible run. Wow, back here. Impressive. Here's Birchcliff Energy, another smaller oil and natural gas company up in Canada. It's playing with its 52-week high, looking pretty good. It's one I'm invested in. I also own Tellurian. Tellurian is, it looks very good here. You can see this kind of V-shaped bottom, and I think we're going to come up, and there's not much resistance through here, so I think we'll easily get to maybe $3.75, $4 pretty quick, and then we'll see what happens with this downtrend that it's created. We'll probably break through it and head on higher, and we'll get another kind of maybe, hopefully, an impulse surge, an impulse move higher. And what an impulse move is markets move. They do an impulse move, consolidate, impulse move, consolidate, impulse move, and you can even see how this leads in. It'll run up and then come sideways. It'll run up, come sideways, and then punch. Run up, sideways, punch. Run up, sideways, punch up. And it just does it over and over. Grand Tierra, same thing. Runs up, sideways, sideways to down, punch up, and it just consolidates like this. This guy's putting in kind of a larger one here. This looks like it's the end of the consolidation, I think. Hopefully we move on up here. Tetra Technologies, putting in that kind of V. I like the way the chart looks on this side. Very large up candlesticks with lots of buying pressure. That's why you see these white candlesticks. Opening price, closing price, it ended strong. Two little, a cross day where the buyers equal to sellers, two little sell-off days, and then another punch higher. That's kind of how the markets look. They do these big white candlestick up days, small pullbacks. And that's a big uptrend move. A consolidation phase, you'll see big red down days, and then it'll be a struggle for the buyers to push the price higher. Big down days, struggle. Big down days, and then the buyers step in and punch it higher. So this looks good and probably is going to go sideways to higher. Sideways first and then higher. That's my guess. TTI on a big long-term descending wedge pattern, broke to the upside, and I think it looks fantastic for a long-term hold. Here's Transocean. This is a shallow water, mid-water energy service company that does drilling. So they have ships and rigs and stuff like that in the ocean. So we've been moving sideways, and I'm just looking for a sideways to move higher here. looking at Reconnaissance Energy Africa, RECAF. This is one that I'm interested in. They are in Namibia, Africa, in the Kavango Basin, and they are searching for oil. They're going to do 3 wells. They've already drilled the first 2, and they were successful at finding a working oil system. Now, just having the probability of your first 2 wells that you drill no dry wells or dry holes is pretty good. And if they drill a third, they're looking pretty good. So we know they have oil. They're estimating it to be a massive amount of oil because of how big the basin is. So I'm speculating on this one a little bit and putting a little bit more money in it. I bought it. I think I bought it like somewhere in here. I bought it in here, and then I'm buying it in here. $590, or I bought it for $580 today. So that's one that is interesting because you get this. Basically, the pullback started basically in this area here. We pulled back, popped higher with this nice big buying pressure, and we've got small leak off of sellers. I think this is probably going to go sideways to higher. Is my guess, and I cost average a little bit in. Callum Petroleum, again, we're seeing the same patterns everywhere. This kind of move up, this kind of stair step higher, the sell off, and then this V-shaped bottom, sideways to higher. Callum Petroleum is another one that I'm interested in and hold. Northern Oil and Gas, this one looks really good if you like. One that I haven't talked too much about. Nice big kind of sell-off here. Went from $21 down to $14. We're at $16.60. I like it right here. Nice little V-bottom. Sideways to higher is where I'm guessing. And this is a bullish engulfing pattern, it looks like. So that looks good. Northern Oil and Gas, you can see what it was before. This thing's way down there. I think this is a good spot, especially if oil goes way higher. I think we're going to see this go higher. And I think this one is a company that owns land and then leases the land out and gets some sort of the production for the land that they let someone else drill and operate. So I think their model's pretty good, and it provides very good leverage to the price of oil when it moves. And that's what I'm interested in. I like the high leverage companies and the high debt companies that can really start to move because everyone's shorting them or taking the opposite bet, and then eventually they'll have to cover. So I'm assuming that a lot of people are shorting oil because they think it's going to go away. But if we have an inflationary period with a weak dollar, I think they're going to be massively wrong. So I'm taking that bet on the long side. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys listening. This is Finding Value.